Welcome back to AI for the Humanities. I'm Meghan McInnis-Domínguez, Associate Professor of Spanish at the University of Delaware. And today we're diving into some fascinating developments that are reshaping the AI landscape. We've got a packed episode covering major shifts from the last month in AI news. From Perplexity's game-changing research tools to OpenAI's strategic retreat on its O3 model, and from DeepSeek's open source challenge to the dominance of established players, to the latest updates in AI policy under the Trump administration. We're also seeing interesting developments from companies like xAI with their Grok 3 release, all pointing to an increasingly competitive and complex AI ecosystem. Let's start with what's happening with DeepSeek R1. This Chinese open source model has really shaken up the AI industry in unexpected ways. It's matching and sometimes beating OpenAI and Google's Gemini models in reasoning tasks, all while charging just 14 cents per million tokens. That's a fraction of what the big players charge for their premium services. This success has forced OpenAI's hand, leading them to make their O3 mini reasoning model available to all users, not just paid subscribers. It's a clear acknowledgement that DeepSeek's affordable, high-performing model poses a real threat, especially for independent researchers and smaller organizations that can't afford the expensive infrastructure typically needed for advanced AI work. The impact of DeepSeek's rise goes beyond just pricing. They're forcing proprietary companies to rethink their approach, pushing them toward specialized features that open source models might lack. While OpenAI and Google can still differentiate themselves with enterprise integrations and robust security measures, DeepSeek's accessibility makes it incredibly appealing for many users. The open source nature of the model is particularly exciting because it allows independent developers and research institutions to create customized versions for specific applications. Think specialized tools for humanities research, historical analysis, or literary studies. For humanities scholars, DeepSeek opens up some intriguing possibilities. Its affordability means we can now realistically consider large-scale AI-assisted text analysis, multilingual corpus research, and historical data mining. Being able to fine-tune local instances of the model lets researchers train it on special cultural datasets without being tied to corporate systems. However, and this is crucial, we need to be clear-eyed about the risk. DeepSeek's Chinese infrastructure raises serious concerns about data privacy and academic freedom. When your research data is processed through servers in China, it could be subject to government oversight, surveillance, or censorship. This is particularly worrying for researchers working on politically sensitive topics, human rights issues, or historical narratives that might conflict with official Chinese positions. There are also practical challenges for institutions in Europe and the US regarding compliance with FERPA, GDPR, and other data privacy laws. Beyond these immediate concerns, DeepSeek's emergence highlights a broader geopolitical shift in AI's leadership. China is increasingly positioning itself as a serious competitor to US AI giants, and this creates a more complex landscape for humanities scholars. We're looking at a decentralized, fragmented AI ecosystem with rapid developments happening simultaneously in China, Europe, and the US. This means we'll need to navigate multiple competing AI models, each with its own licensing terms, ethical considerations, and accessibility constraints. It adds yet another layer of complexity to AI-driven humanities research. We're not just evaluating the outputs of these systems, but also considering the socio-political structures shaping their development. Let's talk about OpenAI's latest moves. They've introduced a beta feature called Tasks in ChatGPT that's pretty interesting. It lets users schedule reminders and recurring actions. Think of it as a smarter version of your regular digital assistant, but with ChatGPT's more sophisticated language capabilities. Currently available to Plus, Team, and Pro subscribers, Tasks lets you exactly specify what you want and when you want it done. You can create up to 10 tasks, manage them through a dedicated web interface, and receive notifications when they're completed. While this might sound like a common feature in digital assistants, it represents a significant shift for ChatGPT, which previously only handled immediate requests. This feature also hints at OpenAI's broader interests in what they're calling agentic AI, systems that can act more autonomously in real-world contexts. Their upcoming projects, with names like Operator and Caterpillar, suggests that they're working on AI that can navigate websites, summarize data, or control computers with minimal human oversight. While this helps justify their subscription tiers, there are still questions about the reliability of this kind of AI. Past demonstrations have shown some inaccuracies, and the beta label on tasks suggests they're still gathering feedback to refine this feature. For humanities scholars, tasks represent a significant shift in how we might manage our academic work. It transforms ChatGPT from a reactive tool into a proactive assistant that could help orchestrate research tasks, organize reading lists, and automate administrative duties like conference deadlines and library due dates. Imagine having AI that routinely reminds you about peer review deadlines or helps archive online discussions for future reference. But here's the catch. For our field specifically, the feature's beta status and reliability concerns are particularly problematic in academic contexts where missing a deadline could derail an entire conference submission or publication timeline. Plus, the subscription requirement means many students and independent scholars might be left out. Speaking of access, let's look at what's happening with OpenAI's Deep Research feature. This is a significant upgrade that transforms ChatGPT into an autonomous research assistant capable of handling complex, multimodal queries. What makes it particularly interesting is how it approaches research problems. When you submit a query or upload documents, whether they're texts, images, or PDFs, it doesn't just generate a quick answer. Instead, it breaks down the query into smaller, manageable tasks and processes each component step by step, showing its reasoning through a visible sidebar. This transparency is valuable because it helps us understand how the AI reached its conclusions and builds trust by citing specific sources. Unlike earlier models that focus solely on text, deep research is designed to handle multiple types of data. This is particularly valuable for humanities scholars who often work with visual artifacts like historic manuscripts, artworks, or cultural documents. The system can analyze images alongside text, allowing for richer analysis that combines textual interpretation with visual context. Think of it as a specialized research analyst that can automatically sift through large volumes of information, synthesize insights, and provide comprehensive summaries, all while showing its work. By breaking down complex queries into smaller tasks and showing its reasoning process, it's bringing unprecedented transparency to AI-assisted research. This is crucial for our field, where understanding the path to a conclusion is often as important as the conclusion itself. The multimodal capabilities are particularly exciting for scholars working with visual artifacts, manuscripts, or cultural documents. Imagine being able to analyze both text and images in historic archives with AI assistance that shows its work. Moving on to some significant industry developments, OpenAI has made a major strategic decision regarding their O3 model. While the O3 Mini has been available to users across all tiers, they've announced that they're canceling the standalone release of the full O3 model. Instead, they'll be incorporating its capabilities into their upcoming GPT-5 system. This aligns with their goal of simplifying their product lineup and creating a more seamless AI experience. As Sam Altman put it, the growing number of distinct models was creating confusion, and they want to streamline their offerings to something more cohesive and dynamic. What's particularly interesting about this shift is how GPT-5 will handle different types of tasks. Instead of users having to choose between models like O1, O3, or GPT-4o, the system will dynamically adapt its reasoning capabilities based on the complexity of what you're asking it to do. Before we get to ChatGPT-5, though, OpenAI plans to release an intermediate version, which is called ChatGPT 4.5 or Orion. which will be their last non-China-thought model. Think of it as a bridge between their current technology and the more advanced reasoning capabilities they're planning for GPT-5. For humanities scholars, this transition to a unified GPT-5 system could significantly streamline our research processes. Instead of having to learn multiple systems or guess which model is best for different types of research, we could have one adaptive system that handles everything from basic text analysis to complex cultural interpretation. However, we'll need to watch carefully how this consolidation affects the nuanced understanding that specialized models sometimes provide. To wrap up with OpenAI, in a bold strategic initiative, the company is finalizing its first in-house AI chip design to reduce dependency on NVIDIA. The chip is being fabricated by TSMC using advanced 3-nanometer technology and is developed by a team led by Richard Ho, formerly of Google, and it's expected to enter mass production by 2026. This custom chip, designed with a systolic array architecture, high bandwidth memory, and robust networking capabilities, aims to lower hardware costs and improve the efficiency of running AI models. The implications for the humanities, well, although focused on reducing costs and increasing computational efficiency, the custom chip design can indirectly benefit humanities researchers by making advanced AI models more affordable and accessible. Lower hardware costs could enable smaller institutions and independent scholars to run complex analyses locally, facilitating deeper research into literary texts, historical documents, and cultural data without reliance on expensive cloud services. Let's talk about Perplexity's deep research tool, which is making waves in the AI research space. Unlike traditional search engines that just return a list of results, deep research uses what they call a test-time compute expansion framework to iteratively refine its understanding, much like a human researcher would. It breaks down complex queries, performs dozens of web searches, evaluates hundreds of sources, and uses probabilistic reasoning to build its reports. What's really disrupting the market is their pricing model. While OpenAI charges $200 monthly for ChatGPT Pro access to deep research, and Google bundles their version of Gemini Advanced for $20 monthly, Perplexity offers a free tier with 5 daily queries and a pro tier with 500 queries for just $20 a month. The early performance data is pretty impressive too. In reasoning benchmarks like the Humanities last exam, Perplexity Deep Research achieved 21.1 accuracy, significantly outperforming both GPT-4o at 3.1 and DeepSeek R1 at 8.5. However, it's important to note that the system isn't perfect. Reviews have pointed out that it sometimes generates minor inaccuracies and might not provide the in-depth analysis needed to do expert work. It's a great starting point for research, but findings still need to be verified with human expertise. Perplexity's deep research tool brings particularly interesting implications for humanities research. Its ability to synthesize information from multiple sources quickly could transform how we conduct literature reviews or explore new research directions. The free tier with 5 daily queries opens up advanced research capabilities to students and scholars who might not have had institutional access to premium AI tools. However, we need to be mindful of its limitations. The tendency towards minor inaccuracies means we'll need to maintain rigorous verification practices, especially when dealing with historical facts or cultural analysis. Speaking of AI research tools, let's talk about a major new player in the field, Elon Musk's xAI, which has just launched Grok 3, positioning it as a direct competitor to OpenAI's GPT-4o and Google's Gemini. What makes Grok 3 interesting is its integration with X, formerly Twitter, and its enhanced capabilities in image analysis, question answering, and reasoning. They've built it using an extensive dataset, including court case filings, and run it on some serious GPU infrastructure. The model comes in different versions, including a reasoning model that tries to self-check its responses, which is particularly useful for complex problem solving. One feature that's getting a lot of attention is deep search, which scans both the internet and X to generate search summaries. While xAI is planning to release an enterprise API, Right now, you'll need a premium subscription to access their advanced features. With their super tier, Super Grok, it priced at $30 monthly. They're also promising an open source Grok 2 model once Grok 3 is stable. For humanities scholars, Grok 3's emergence raises some fascinating questions about how AI shapes knowledge production and access to information. The deep search feature exemplifies where AI driven research assistance is heading, but its heavy reliance on X as a primary source should make us think carefully about bias and credibility, exactly the kind of issues that humanities scholars are trained to analyze. When Musk frames Grok 3 as the maximally truth seeking AI free from political correctness, it opens up important discussions about objectivity and ideological bias in AI systems. Previous versions of Grok showed clear political leanings despite claims of neutrality, highlighting why we need to carefully examine how these tools are trained and how their outputs are shaped by data selection. The pricing structure of Grok 3 also raises important questions about accessibility and knowledge equity in academic research. Locking the more advanced capabilities behind expensive subscription plans could create or worsen existing disparities in digital knowledge production. And while the promise to open source Grok 2 sounds promising for researchers interested in AI transparency and digital humanities projects, we'll need to see exactly what data capabilities are actually made available in this model. These developments continue to raise critical ethical, political, and epistemological questions that humanities scholars are uniquely positioned to address. In another interesting development, Microsoft has made a bold move by fully open sourcing their Phi-4 AI model on Hugging Face under the MIT license. Despite being relatively small at 14 billion parameters, Phi-4 performs impressively well on reasoning tasks, particularly in math and coding. This is thanks to its streamlined architecture and carefully curated training data. The model scores over 80% on challenging benchmarks like math and MGSM, putting it in direct competition with more resource-intensive models like Google's Gemini Pro and GPT-4o Mini. Microsoft's decision to open source Phi-4 represents a significant shift toward a more accessible AI research model. Unlike the massive proprietary models that require extensive infrastructure, Phi-4 is designed to be more efficient and adaptable. This is particularly relevant for humanities researchers who might not have access to expensive computational resources. The open source nature of the model also means scholars can fine-tune it for specialized research areas, like linguistic variation or literary analysis, while also examining its biases and refining its outputs. Microsoft's open sourcing of Phi-4 could be transformative for digital humanities projects. Its efficiency means smaller institutions could run sophisticated text analysis or cultural data processing without needing expensive infrastructure. The transparency of the open source model also allows humanities scholars to examine and adjust for biases in the system, crucial when dealing with cultural and historical analysis. Think about being able to fine-tune an AI model specifically for analyzing medieval texts or understanding regional linguistic variations. Google has released an experimental extension of its Gemini 2.0 Flash model called Gemini 2.0 Flash Thinking Experimental, aiming to improve AI's ability to reason through complex multimodal tasks such as programming, math, and physics. Unlike purely generative models, this new approach breaks down prompts into smaller steps, synthesizing context to produce more structured, explainable solutions, an approach that could, in theory, help humanities scholars who deal with multi-layered problems in language, cultural analysis, or data-driven research. However, the model's reasoning can still be inconsistent and slow, taking seconds to minutes to produce answers. Token limits are relatively high at 32,000, accommodating mixed text and image inputs and outputs that max out at 8,000 tokens in text-only format. Notably, Gemini 2.0 Flash Thinking Experimental lacks built-in tools like search integration or code execution, meaning it cannot automatically verify sources or run in-depth computation. Google frames this as a research-oriented release, so it's not yet production-ready for large-scale workflows. Still, the model aligns with the industry trend of focusing on reasoning models, echoing developments like OpenAI's o1. While such models promise richer, more reliable AI-based analysis, potentially beneficial for humanities projects requiring interpretive depth, they also come with higher computational costs and increasing response times, underscoring ongoing trade-offs between AI sophistication and usability. Speaking of broader industry developments, we're seeing interesting movement in other areas of AI. Voice assistants from Apple and Amazon, Siri and Alexa respectively, are facing delays due to persistent challenges with accuracy. On the flip side, YouTube has successfully integrated Google's VO2 AI model into their Shorts camera, allowing for AI-generated backgrounds and clips. We're also seeing progress in robotics, with both Apple and Meta advancing their work on AI-powered humanoid robots. Adobe has joined the AI generation game too, launching a public beta for AI generation in their Firefly web app. On January 20th, 2025, President Donald Trump repealed Biden's AI executive order, removing federal guidelines on transparency, fairness, data privacy, and ethical oversight in AI. This rollback eliminates funding for interdisciplinary AI research, shifting control over AI governance to market forces and individual agencies rather than federal oversight. For the humanities, this decision has major implications. The loss of federal funding means AI research in fields such as history, literature, and ethics may struggle to secure support, making it harder for scholars to analyze AI's societal impact. Additionally, with tech companies setting their own standards, industry priorities may overshadow ethical and cultural considerations, potentially sidelining humanistic perspectives in AI development. In education, the repeal could lead to inconsistent AI adoption in classrooms, affecting how AI tools are used for teaching and research, as well as diminishing efforts to prevent algorithmic bias. While some in the tech sector argue that fewer regulations will accelerate innovation, this unregulated growth may also bring greater risks of misinformation, bias, and ethical oversights. Without federal coordination, AI governance may become fragmented, with policies varying by state or institution, complicating compliance for multi-institutional collaborations. Furthermore, the repeal could shift research funding toward private sector grants, limiting the scope of AI-related humanities research to topics that align with corporate or nonprofit interests. Ultimately, this policy change underscores the growing need for humanities scholars to advocate for responsible AI policies, ensuring that ethical, cultural, and historical dimensions remain central to AI development and application. Looking at the bigger picture, what we're seeing in the AI landscape is both exciting and concerning for humanities scholars. We have DeepSeek emerging as an affordable, high-performing alternative to the big proprietary models, essentially forcing companies like OpenAI to rethink their pricing and accessibility. Perplexity's deep research tool is challenging the status quo of expensive AI research services by offering free access to advanced reasoning capabilities. And OpenAI's move toward a unified GPT-5 suggests the industry is starting to prioritize integrated, adaptive systems that might make it easier for scholars to access high-level reasoning tools without getting bogged down in technical complexity. But let's be clear about the risks, too. The repeal of Biden's AI executive order isn't just a policy change. It threatens to fundamentally alter how ethical AI development is guided and overseen. Without federal mandates for interdisciplinary AI research, our ability to study AI's impact on society, examine its biases, and understand its historical implications could be significantly hampered. We also can't ignore the geopolitical dimensions. DeepSeek's emergence from China raises important questions about data privacy, censorship, and academic freedom. As scholars, we need to think carefully about where our research data is stored and how AI-generated insights might be filtered or shaped by various political forces. That said, there's real promise in how AI tools are becoming more democratized. Look at what Perplexity is doing with their deep research tool. offering structured multi-source analyses at no cost. This could be a game changer for students, independent scholars, and underfunded institutions. Microsoft's decision to open source Phi 4 is equally significant, showing us a future where humanities researchers might be able to fine-tune AI models for their specific needs without depending on tech giants. The AI landscape is evolving faster than most of us could have predicted, and its influence on education, research, and knowledge production is only going to grow. I think the key question for us as humanities scholars isn't whether we'll use AI in our research. That ship has sailed. The real question is how we ensure that these tools remain ethical, transparent, and aligned with humanistic values. These technologies need to do more than just make our work more efficient. They need to deepen our understanding of culture, history, and language while upholding academic integrity and intellectual freedom. Moving forward, it's crucial that we as humanities scholars, educators, and policymakers work together to shape AI's role in academia. This means actively advocating for transparent AI systems, rigorously examining the biases and limitations of AI-generated knowledge, and making sure that ethical considerations stay at the forefront of technological development. Whether we're looking at established players like OpenAI and Google, newcomers like DeepSeek, or emerging platforms like Grok, our role as humanists is to engage critically and thoughtfully with these technologies, ensuring that they serve the broader goals of cultural understanding, ethical inquiry, and intellectual freedom. Thanks for joining me today for this deep dive into the changing landscape of AI in the humanities. There's clearly a lot to keep an eye on, and I'm looking forward to exploring these developments further in future episodes. If you found today's discussion valuable, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to stay updated on our latest AI episodes. Until next time, I'm Meghan McInnis-Domínguez. Stay curious, stay critical, and keep questioning how AI shapes the humanities.
The AI race is heating up. New contenders shaking things up. Perplexity's digging deep, while OpenAI takes a leap. DeepSeek's changing all the rules. Open source and cutting through. Faster, cheaper, breaking chains. Now the big names feel the strain. Who holds the power? Who makes the call? Is knowledge free or behind a wall? We've got to question, we've got to see what AI means for you and me. DeepSeek rising, Grok's in flight, battles raging left and right. Rules are shifting, lines are blurred. Who decides what will be heard? DeepSeek rising, Grok's in flight, battles raging left and right. Rules are shifting, lines are blurred. Who decides what will be heard? Grok 3's here, Musk makes waves. Maximal truth is the claim he gave. Deep search stands, but what's the source? X marks the spot, but what's the force? Biden's rules got swept away. Now AI runs with no delay. Transparency's a thing of the past. Can the humanities make it last? Who holds the power? Who makes the call? Who makes the call? Is knowledge free or behind a wall? Is knowledge free or behind a wall? We've got to question, we've got to see what AI means for you and me. DeepSeek rising, Grok's in flight, battles raging left and right. Rules are shifting, lines are blurred. Who decides what will be heard? DeepSeek rising, Grok's in flight, battles raging left and right. Rules are shifting, lines are blurred. Who decides what will be heard? Open source or walled off fate, innovation or locked out gates. Deep search learns, but what's the cost? If truth's for sale, what have we lost? We shape the tools, they shape us too. AI's the future, but what will it do? Step in, speak up, don't fade away. The humanity the tools, they shape us too. AI's the future, but what will it do? Step in, speak up, don't fade away. The humanities still have a say.